Matchweek 33 in the books. Liverpool and Man City victorious, as we see nothing change at the top of the table. Arsenal with a big loss and a big win. Compare that to rivals, Tottenham, who only dropped points this week with a loss at home to Brighton and Hove Albion. All that and more as we cover all from Burnley staying alive to the streaking, proving us wrong, Brentford Bees. This is the Premiership Perusal Podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs, and the ball in behind Damian Vardy! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
What an intro.
What an intro. We're back again for our 33rd iteration of the podcast. That's a lie. It's not our 33rd iteration.
Yeah.
We're on episode like 40-something. But anyways.
We're here. We're live. We're ready.
Here. We got a little 33-plus action.
33 plus. Was there 13 games this week? That sound right?
Yeah, I think so.
13 or 14, something like that. Watch it be like 11 or 12 or just way out. They're like, no, it was that.
No, we got kick-started with a wonderful match. Tottenham versus Brighton at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
To the lineups, there we go. Hugo Lloris, Romero, Dyer, Davies, Reguilon, Højbjerg, Royale, Betancourt, Son, Kane, Kulu. For Brighton, we got Sanchez, Cucurella, Dunk, Veltman, Lamptey, Bissouma, Trossard, Gross, Caicedo, McAllister, and Mwepu. So Brighton virtually staying the same out there after their victory against Arsenal. And they say, you know what? We're going to pull it off again against Tottenham.
You want to see me beat a top 4 team? You want to see me do it again?
After such terrible form, after Sam disavowed Graham Potter.
Yep. That's really all it took.
They're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brighton, as you would expect in this one, I thought really able to possess the ball. And then honestly, I didn't think Tottenham was able to make Brighton pay enough when Brighton were finally caught out. They really could only win corners, and kudos to Brighton in a sense. A lot of block shots in this one, but I thought Tottenham's passing and their runs, a lot of their movement just wasn't as sharp as it has been in the past. Month and a half that they've been clicking. So, I wouldn't have expected it to be Brighton to kind of slow them down a bit, but I don't know. What did you see from Brighton in terms of how they played against Arsenal and kind of what's changed recently and how they're able to implement that against Tottenham?
Yeah, it seems like they've just kind of got a new spark to the team. They went through that really poor run of form. And Mwepu coming into the team, he's been pretty vital, bringing up the energy levels.
Mm-hmm.
Really against Arsenal in that first game, they looked completely different to what we've seen in the past month and a half or so of Brighton. And then in this game, it's not super surprising in the fact that Tottenham, the way they've been playing is like very efficient with their chances.
Yeah.
But not like a super high volume of chances. Like specifically like that game against Villa where they pretty much had 4 chances and scored on them.
Yes.
And Villa was in control of the game throughout. So you come to a game like this where, yeah, you're playing Brighton and they're playing somewhat better than they have been, but all it takes is for you to start misfiring a little bit on attack, and things can go south kind of fast.
Yeah, it was more so they weren't even creating the chances that they had been recently, where they're able to create, that 3 to 6 real good chances a game. This one, they just, I don't know, the long balls definitely weren't going, to say the least, for Tottenham.
And that's huge for them.
Yeah, exactly. And then as far as Brighton's attack, still pretty rough. Their long balls and crosses, there's not many long balls, but more crosses were just really tough to watch. Just not good deliveries from the offset. So, I noticed this as my last note about the first half. Brighton really play these like feisty games. You notice that? They get in like a lot of shoving matches.
I feel like there's quite a few teams.
Especially like
kinda
Cucurella might
scrappy.
be top 5 like most hated guy by like other teams.
Yeah,
They don't even
that's
go in the
fair.
game knowing who he is, and then by the end of it, they're just like, fuck this guy. This guy's an ass.
Yeah,
Well, because
I
who was
feel-
that who like slammed him on his head? That was a Leicester game.
Daka.
Daka, yeah.
Yeah. They
Maybe-
got a little bit of bite in their players. Lewis Dunk.
Shane Duffy
Shane
does it
Duffy
to his own
didn't-
keeper.
Didn't play this game, but Bobby Sanchez, maybe Pascal Gross.
Yeah, I would mainly say even Basuma in
Bissouma,
midfield at
yeah.
times. So yeah, not a ton for chances in the first half. Defense was fine, I guess. They weren't really challenged that much.
Yeah.
Second half, more Tottenham possession, able to hold the ball. I guess, their directness compared to the first half is still, they're really pushing for it. In a sense, I respect it because I don't like teams that just necessarily always go side to side and are too conservative. But it just, you could tell it just kind of wasn't there for their guys. And Brighton just really kind of able to hold off any semblance of an attack for the most part.
Yeah, when you play a team like Brighton, sometimes you really have to work the ball to create your chances, and they're not going to give up those easy chances. And when you're trying to play more direct like Tottenham do, it can be easier to start trying to force those chances instead of letting them happen more naturally.
Yeah, I mean
And-
that's kind of what's always going to happen when you're a big team or a team. I'd think it's fair to say big team. When you're going against big team going against small team, you generally at some point, if it's just not going, it's not easy for you. You're really going to force it. Speaking of forcing it, not much really happens till the very end, and then we get a goal, 90th minute, well worked, off the throw in. Trossard claiming a ball in the box, kind of a little bit of pinging around. Nice little dribble move, slots it, far post, 1-0. I honestly thought it ended in a draw. I didn't see this coming from either side the whole game.
Brighton, for some reason, they just have kind of those random goals in them
Yeah,
where they just create it out of nothing.
that's why you bank on the numbers if you're an analytics guy, I guess.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, eventually it'll happen. So finishes 1-0. Not entirely not surprised, but a little surprised by the result, and not really thrilled with any performance in this game out of anyone in particular. I guess maybe just as a collective unit, Brighton's defense and their defensive aspects of their midfield to be able to manage Tottenham's counterattack enough. But other than that, not the most spectacular game to watch, but a good result for Brighton. Tottenham, one you kind of need as we get near the end of the season, pushing for top 4. Speaking of one that you need, Manchester United, you're going to need to beat Norwich if you're going top 4.
Absolutely. Here's the lineups: De Gea, Lindelof, Maguire, Dalot, Telles, Pogba, Lingard, Bruno Fernandes, CR7, Jadon Sancho, and Elanga. For Norwich, Tim Krul, Sam Byram, Gibson, Hanley, Yanulis, Kieran Dowell, Norman, Rashica, Lise Malou, Kenny McLean, and up front, Timo Pukki. Getting into this match, Timo Pukki, 3rd minute in, nearly gets off the scoring right away.
Yeah, he almost kicks it off.
And it's kind of a sign of things to come in terms of Norwich's attack versus the United defense. But before that, United take the early lead in the 7th minute through Elanga. Terrible play by Mr. Ben Gibson, trying to play out of the back. How many times do
He
we have
looks
to
real
tell
good
you,
at that.
Norwich, please stop trying to play out of the back. Despite having the lead, United did look vulnerable down the flanks. They looked pretty susceptible towards Norwich's counterattack.
I've noticed these last few games in particular, it's like Wan-Bissaka's way up. Even when the other team has the other keeper will have the ball and he's like going to distribute it. Like Wan-Bissaka's so far up the field, it's like I don't get why.
Yeah, in this game it was Telles and Dalot who were same thing. I guess that's their coaching style.
Yeah,
is that they
Rangnick.
want the fullbacks pushed so far up, but they're so exposed. I was thinking the same thing. Like, man, they're just getting absolutely toasted.
Yeah.
And
It's not going to take much, especially we rate Maguire a little more than other people. We're not going to sit here and tell you that he's a pace merchant for a center back.
yeah,
You're kind of leaving him a little on island. And Varane, he's an old man now compared to what he used to be. He's no spring chicken, so he's not going to be nearly as fast as he used to be.
yeah. I don't think they really have a center back that's kind of just the pacey guy. Lindelof he's more similar to both of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of eye-opening to see the Norwich attack looking that good to start off the game. But United surprisingly got the second goal
Yes.
through Ronaldo, rising up on the corner, what he does best.
What can you do? How are you going to stop that guy?
And at that point, you're thinking,
This game's already over.
this should be easy, cruise to victory. But Norwich, just before halftime, gets their first goal of the game. Kieran Dowell popping up wide open at the back post, and Timo Pukki finds him with the pass across the 6-yard box. So they make it a little interesting right before halftime.
It's the battle of superstars of Temu Pukki and Cristiano Ronaldo in this one.
True, and Kieran Dowell.
Oh, no, he doesn't count.
Second half gets started, and Norwich say, hey, we're back in this game.
We're
Picking
back,
up
baby.
where they left off. Second goal, Timo Pukki hits on the counter. We warned him. We warned United about this.
You can't be exposed out there. Can't get caught with your pants down against Norwich. That's a bad look. Giving up a 2-goal lead against Norwich is a bad look.
Yes. Very bad defending. Norwich just putting the fullbacks on blast, like we were saying. They have another chance shortly after Rashica forcing De Gea into a big save. Could have really
Yeah, De
made things
Gea.
interesting.
We can't talk enough about how De Gea has bailed this team out this season. It's just wild.
So many
How
times.
many points he saved them.
Then the key moment of the game came in the 76th minute. The long-range free kick. You're saying Ronaldo stepping over this? This guy doesn't score free kicks anymore. What is this, 2012?
Yeah.
No. Blast one from long range. Even he couldn't believe it went in
Yes.
to complete the hat trick.
3-2 finishes. Not a pretty one, but a much-needed result for United.
Yeah, to say the least. That's one you take your points and you get out of there and you don't look back.
You say, well, he's got all three, and that's all that matters. Yeah, I mean, United, clearly Rangnick not going to be the guy of the future. It looks to be Ten Hag.
Confirmed to be Ten Hag.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be different in terms of play style and stuff, and we'll see who he keeps and what not. But you got to feel like that midfield hole is so massive that it's exploited even against a team like Norwich. Because even if you're having your fullbacks push up, that just means you're having another guy from midfield drop back to help out a bit.
Yeah.
Guess who's doing that right now? Nobody.
No.
No one. And if it is, it might be Fred. And that's not a place you want to be.
Yeah, you're
Or Matic.
relying on guys like Matic, and
So
you sub on Pogba.
yeah. So Yeah, not a spot you want to be, but you know what? A win. As far as Norwich go,
It was a good performance.
you almost had a win at United. It's about all you can ask for. It would have been nice in a sad year if you would have went to Old Trafford taken 3 points or even a point.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, moving on, we got Southampton. We got Arsenal. We got the lineups.
For Southampton, in net, Fraser Forster, back three, Leonco, Bednarak, and Valeri. Midfield, KWP, Romeo, Ward-Prowse, Perot.
Are you that close to him? You can call him KWP and get away with it?
Yeah, we're good mates.
Wow, dude.
Up front, Stu Armstrong, Brosia, and El Yunusi. For Arsenal, Ramsdale, White, Gabriel, Cedric, Nuno, Saka, Odegaard, Albert Sambi Lokanga, Granit Xhaka,
Big Al.
Martinelli, and up front, Ring, who called?
Who called?
Edward and Ketia.
Wow.
Yeah, this game was not great from an Arsenal perspective.
Southampton, you got to be loving it.
Southampton.
Not playing that great. Coming in.
Yes.
Been down a little bit. Fraser Forster, out of his mind this game.
You know what I say? I get knocked down, but I get back up again.
Yeah, nothing's going to ever keep Arsenal down.
See, I was very hesitant about this fixture. I was saying St. Mary's, Arsenal always seems to struggle. You going into this match with the weaker lineup. Yeah, Arsenal, I mean, they didn't look very good in the first half.
No.
Southampton didn't really look that good either, honestly.
No.
But they pulled out the goal just before halftime.
Yeah, it was one of those Southampton performances where you don't even get a fast start, and you're like, oh boy.
Yeah, it was not a good performance by either team. But picking up that goal in the 44th minute, Bednarak off the corner kick. And you get that goal against Arsenal and things kind of turn a little sour. Second half, Arsenal really pushing for a second goal, for the second goal of the game to equalize. Like you were saying, Fraser Forster was absolutely massive in this match. Came up with some huge saves in the first half
Big
and the
time.
second half. Really, I was in shock about how good he was playing.
Why? He's been average this year, I'd say that. He's had ups and downs, but I'd say he's been average this year. But he's shown capability out of nowhere to
exactly.
get it going again.
More so the fact that, like, sometimes it just comes out of nowhere where he's just absolutely unbeatable. I mean, Arsenal weren't playing very good by any means. They were pretty much sleepwalking through this match until later on in the game where they started ramping up the pressure. But he came in clutch for Southampton and was the reason that they got all 3 points.
Yeah, to say the least. I thought Southampton's defense at least kind of shored up a bit in this game. We've seen a few, probably of the last 5, where it's like their defense is just out to lunch.
That's the benefit of getting that first goal is a team like Southampton, they can just sit back. They already got the back 5 out there.
Yeah, which honestly not what you normally see from Southampton when it's going well, but when it's not going well, if you have one bounce go your way, you got to ensure that you're going to make it count.
Yeah.
And they did.
Absolutely. I don't know if there's anything else to say. Just a hugely disappointing performance again from Arsenal. Third loss
They
in
need
a row.
points. They need points.
Mm-hmm.
And Southampton says, we need points too. We got to finish 11th.
Yeah. So, moving on to the next match, Watford versus Brentford.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What a game. To the lineups, Foster, Kamara, Femenia, Samir, Kabasele, Luza, Sissoko, Kuchka, Joao, Pedro, Ismail Yassar, and Manuel Dennis. Brentford We have Raya, Ayer, Henry, Pinnock, Janssen, Norgard, Eriksson, Janelt, Wisa, Tony, and Buemo. So they go back with that little 4-3-3 action. It really allows them, to do so much when they have Eriksson in the team. They can just completely morph what they usually do.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that midfield, Norgard, Eriksson, and Janelt.
Very balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Very balanced. The game started off, and in like the first minute, they're talking about Samir coming to the club, and they talked about how Roy speaks Italian to him on the training ground because that's the only language they have in common.
Nice.
And I love the idea of Roy Hodgson speaking Italian. That'd be so great. Watford, 1 or 2 chances early. They just are not taking them for the moment. It's the one thing coming into the year that you would have said is, well, their attack will, keep them in it and stuff. But
it's been lackluster,
to say the least. I mean, you know that the defense, they had a great defense in the championship last year, and you were very skeptical coming in this year of it. And you proved to be right to be skeptical of it. They're not very good. They're bottom 5. The attack, you thought, that'll provide some pop. That might allow them to stay up, but has not been the case. A lot of Brentford possession in this one. They weren't very fast, especially like picking passes and attack, and they didn't look that great at first. But all it takes is a long throw-in and a header on, and absolutely nobody on Mr. Norgard in the middle of the box. And with that, you can take the lead. It goes 1-0 for Brentford. Rest of the first half, all chances. Well, I shouldn't say all chances. Best chance for Watford as they came close was an Ayer own goal almost occurred. Very strange, off balance, swinging a leg at it, pokes it wide. But after that, a lot of Brentford. Unfortunately, every chance, and by every I mean like 2 or 3 good ones, fell for Mr. Janelt, and he did not bring his shooting boots today.
He went all out on that Chelsea win.
Game. Yeah, he's like, I'll save it for the big games.
He sold his soul to win that game.
Everyone does against a plucky underdog like Chelsea. Second half, Watford, good attack to start. Still, that final third, it's either a pass lets them down or the shooting. A lot of times lately, it's just been the shooting, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and you look at guys like João Pedro and Ismail Yassar, like, these guys are supposed to be like your top performers at the club. Even Dennis, who was on fire for a good run there, he's completely cooled off. And it's just disappointing when you look at those guys and you're like, yeah, they have quality, but just aren't getting the ball in the back of the net.
No.
What can you do?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Watford's attack kind of relies either on pace or it'll simply just come down to a bit of relying on their skill to beat the defender one-on-one with some dribbling. But speaking of skill, Ivan Toney with a great chance, wide open on a set piece, and he absolutely shanks it. Watford get a goal. Quite strange. Originally called off. Dennis with an absolutely beautiful finish out of nowhere, roofs it near post. I thought it was going to stand that it was off. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say I was confident that it was off or on. It was kind of a toss-up one. And they left it. Or they reversed it, rather. Let him stay on. Gave him a goal. Maybe some luck going Watford's way. Last 20, 25 minutes, kind of holding a lot of the ball. Best chance came from Samir with a rocket from the edge of the box, just wide. I'd say Brentford had a chance, kind of like a half chance. Tony from probably like 40 yards out on a turn almost chipped Foster, went just wide, but it was definitely open at the end, which is not quite what I was expecting. It definitely suits Watford more than Brentford, I would say. Mm-hmm. At the end, 93rd minute, mad scramble, Ball pops to João Pedro, rips it off the near post, goes right to Luza, wide open in the 6-yard box, and absolutely shanks the ball. It's unbelievable. Both had an empty net to shoot at, and I didn't know at the time, but looking back, it makes plenty of sense. Brentford go down, win a free kick, swing a long ball in. Pontius Janssen, who's playing amazing all game, gets the header, 2-1. Brentford wins it. Not to mention the quality of that ball from Christian Eriksen.
That is a tough one if you're Watford.
You needed 3. You almost had 1. Instead, you end with 0.
Yeah. Really, 1 point at this stage of the game does them about as good as no points. They need 3 points, and they need them bad.
Tell that to Luza, who absolutely had the biggest Luza moment of the weekend by shanking that shot.
Brentford.
They're hot.
They're hot.
They're
we
so
saw
hot.
it too soon. Freaking idiots.
They're mooning.
Freaking idiots, dude.
They're a
We don't know
mooning
anything about stonks.
No.
God, we don't know anything about the Premier League. Just
We really
shut
don't.
down the podcast.
We should have known. As long as Christian Eriksen's on the team, they're going to be way better than they probably deserve to be.
Yes, true. Speaking of teams who are way better than they should be, we're talking about
Leicester City-
Newcastle versus
Oh, okay.
Leicester City. Newcastle versus Leicester. Here's the lineups. Dubravka, Schär, Target, Kraft, Dan Burn, Joelinton, John Joe Shelby, Bruno G, St. Maximin, Wing, Chris Wood, and Miguel Almiron.
MLS's finest.
Absolutely. For Leicester, Schmeichel, Justin, Soyuncu, Amarte, Luke Thomas, Tielemans, Jose Perez, back in action
how
against
about
his old
that?
club. Mendy, Dewsbury Hall, Ademola Lookman, and Patson Daka up front.
Rotation at Leicester. Different formation. Well, virtually the same. They just have it listed different, but rotation in terms of players.
Yeah, with the European competition, they got to manage their squad, and they chose this game to rotate it up, and they got off to a good start. 19th minute, they get the first goal of the game. A nice corner kick routine out of Leicester. Normally, it's the other end.
Yeah.
Teams are scoring on Leicester off the corners.
Yes.
But, really nicely drawn up. Lookman found wide open, and he scores.
Brendan Rodgers flips the script and says, "How do you like me now?"
I am the set-piece king. Newcastle back into the game, 27th minute. Dewsbury Hall making a lung-busting defensive effort to get back and tackle St. Maximin. He was through on goal, and it would have been dangerous. A potential goal stopper there.
Anything with Mr. St. Maximin is dangerous. You know what else is dangerous? Bruno Guimaraes.
Bruno G says, "I'm in the house." 30th minute, scores a very strange goal. There's a shot that goes at Schmeichel, and he can't really get the control of it. And then Bruno G
He's like, "Hey, give me that."
he's like, "I'm gonna just poke my foot in there." And they took a look, VAR review, but he never had control of the ball.
No.
So goal stands despite how crap it was.
Yeah, I always like that. Sometimes I feel like keeps get the benefit of the doubt that the ball's like even in their vicinity, and they'll give it to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Goes into halftime 1-1. I would say Newcastle were the better side. Leicester got off to a good start,
faded.
but had not much possession, and their attack was looking kind of disjointed.
Yeah,
Not much flow.
to say the least.
Second half, not as much happening. It was more kind of a stalemate action.
A back and forth, changing possession, but not really creating much in terms of chances.
Yes, absolutely. It's kind of disappointing from both sides, honestly, how poor the attack was in the final third. There was just a real lack of quality.
Yes. Until
90th minute plus 4 added time. Who other than Mr. Bruno G on Newcastle's one last counterattack in the game. Joe Willock bursts down the left-hand flank, tries to cross, but it gets deflected and it falls perfectly to Bruno G. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Bruno G with the diving header to win the game.
What a lad.
Oh, St. James's Park was going absolutely mental.
This game sums up Leicester's kind of season in general. It's just like you're like shocked at first, or I guess not shocked, but it doesn't look great, and it's kind of like and then they give up that goal, and they're really starting to fade, and then by the end of it, when they concede the second, it's like, oh my God, that's terrible. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Oh, I think you said sums up Newcastle season. You meant
I
Leicester's.
meant Leicester's. Yeah. I meant Leicester. No,
I was about to say I'm
not.
I'm
following.
having a hard time following.
No, that sums up
yeah,
Leicester season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess this was a game they kind of maybe expected not to get 3 points out of, but still a disappointing performance. You have some good players who are in the lineup.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some quality in there, and I don't know. You expect to get one's probably good against Newcastle. Sometimes Newcastle's defense just too good out there, but your defense giving up 2, especially Newcastle's kind of struggling for goals at times lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to see Newcastle bouncing back after their little tough run they had.
Let me tell you about bouncing back. We'll call them the bouncing Burnley. We got Burnley and West Ham. Fabianski, Cresswell, Dawson, Jop, Johnson, Lanzini, Vlasic, Bowen, Sushek, Rice, Antonio. For Burnley, we have Pope, Lowton, Taylor, Tarkovsky, Collins, Cork, McNeil, Westwood, Cornet, Vogt, Weghorst, and J. Rod.
Yeah, some very disappointing news coming out. Burnley has sacked the beloved Sean Dyche.
See, that's what I had. I had to come on here and say Sean Dyche was my guy, and then Burnley's like, well, we're going to go down, so we got to get rid of your guy and free him up. Well, I was like, thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, one of the friends of the pod.
Yes.
Sean
Absolutely.
Dyche, forever in our hearts. We can't wait to see him back in the Premier League soon.
Me and Sam have both shaved our heads and grown out goatees and dyed our goatees red, orange in honor of him. And we're rubbing our foreheads.
And we ate some
in a
worms.
moment of silence.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Please rub your heads.
I know that their new manager's Mike Jackson.
Jackson.
But there's Coach Ben Mee out there.
Yeah.
Hurt on the bench. He was teaching everyone lessons. He looked great. I can't wait to see Ben Mee 15 years from now be a Premier League manager.
Yeah.
Pretty back and forth and even game, which even the fact that Burnley's able to get chances in attack, that's not good for West Ham. That means West Ham's not playing very well. Big save by Pope on Bowen. Best chance of the game at that point from the edge of the box. Nick Pope is, I think people who pay attention might potentially slightly overrate him at times because he's a little up and down. But people who don't pay attention to the Premier League at all, I feel like Pope is still fairly underrated, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think he could do a job for almost any club outside the top 6. I think really what it comes down to is he doesn't really have the ability to play the ball with his feet. Not the best distribution, but in terms of shot stopping, second to none.
Second to Bernd Leno.
Fraser Forrester.
Yes.
On his day.
West Ham able to establish a little more attack, more and more as the half goes on. But a big Burnley chance, but Cornet not able to feed the ball to Wout Weghorst on the counter. I don't know, Cornet a little off right now.
Yeah,
evidenced by that Norwich goal that he missed, didn't score, and then this game he's just not making the right pass.
I feel like him and Wout kind of have been misfiring lately.
Yeah. Brutal injury scene. Mr. Vlasic going right over Mr. Westwood, and his ankle and foot were pointing the wrong direction, folks.
They were pointing westward.
Yeah. Tough scene for that man. Vlasic clearly distraught by it, felt real bad. Because it wasn't like a foul or anything. It was just kind of like a weird, it wasn't like Son on Gomez.
Yeah.
But that was like,
the leg breaker.
Yeah. This was kind of more like a little innocent. They just kind of like ran into each other, but Westwood was like on the ground. So, yeah. But Burnley respond immediately with a corner. J-Rod hits the bar. Who's there for the rebound?
Vote.
1-0. Burnley. West Ham defense in shambles without Kurt the Cat Kicker out there. West Ham kind of get back into it a little bit. A little possession. Some half chances here and there. Burnley do what Burnley do best when they're peaking. Block and intercept. Crosses. Right before the end of the half, Burnley get a penalty on the breakaway. Cornet taken down in the box. He steps up. I thought it was in, like right away. Just thought it was in. It just like went slightly wide and then like rattled and kind of sat on the outer side of the netting, but I thought it was in. He misses. West Ham throwing a lifeline there. 2-0 down at home to Burnley is not a spot to be in.
Sure isn't.
Second half, both defenses kind of slipping in quality of defense. J-Rod Curler on the counterattack goes wide. Sam was cheering for that one to go in.
J-Rod's kind of a mad lad. He just pops out some
really
like 25-yard curlers.
He really does. And they come close every time but never go in. I'm waiting for the one time it goes in. West Ham really got the counterattacks ramped up in the second half. I like to see that. More like old West Ham. West Ham get their goal. Free kick. Won by Antonio. Probably the best he's done all year. And by all year, I mean of 2022 in terms of goal contribution. Swing in, finds Soucek. Not the best defending. Weghorst kind of like plays it on to Soucek and not great. Benrahma, great chance. Thought he was off, but he wasn't. But the shot was blocked anyways. Had an empty net minus the defender to shoot at. Antonio's decision-making was quite poor this game. He is in like his psyche's in like a pencil sharpener right now.
Yeah, he's in a funk.
He is having a rough go. Pope with a big save on Chop, and then to close it out, Antonio one-on-one with Pope on the breakaway. And Nick Pope saves it. Finishes 1-1. How about that? Burnley get a result. West Ham, you're all Europa League. You've been for a week or two now.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, they're just kind of treading water at this point, especially with the injury situation the way it is.
Yeah, good result for Burnley. West Ham, not so much. Let me tell you about a good result here.
I just want to say Mike Jackson sends his regards. He
might have the worst Photoshop of like the where they have the coaches.
Absolutely.
It's literally just like a random cutout of his head where he's like looking right and they plaster it on a guy who's facing straight ahead. It doesn't look real.
Yeah, they had one in the match yesterday, the Southampton match, kind of the starting lineups where it was full body, but he was like completely sideways and it was like out of focus.
Yeah.
It was great. And he's kind of a scary looking guy in the first place, but
let me tell you something. You know, it looked great. Liverpool looked great.
Yeah, Liverpool did look great against United. Manchester United. Manchester. Getting into the lineups for Liverpool. Alisson, Van Dijk, Robertson, Matip, TAA, Fabinho, Thiago, Hendo, Mane, Salah, Luis Diaz. For United, David De Gea, Lindelof,
Phil Jones against Liverpool.
Phil Jones. All right, Phil. You're in against Liverpool. Next to Slabhead, Harry Maguire. In the midfield, Pogba, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, Matic up front, Rashford, Bruno, and Alonga. No CR7. Unfortunate circumstances for that. You hate to see that.
Yeah, his son passing away. Yeah, I think Ranić has really taken the piss. Who plays Phil Jones out of nowhere, let alone against Liverpool?
The Phil Jones reintroduction.
That
game.
is so funny. Honestly, the German sense of humor.
That is
Very dry, but
yeah.
hilarious.
Yes, you see, it was very funny. I said,
Yes, I said
Phil
it,
Jones, you are going to play against Liverpool. Fantastic.
We go down 1-0 in the 3rd minute, yeah.
Jawohl.
Yeah, let me tell you something about United, just covering Liverpool, the whole field, but not pressing, and just like kind of running near them.
Oh, man.
I don't know what the hell that was. Like, if you're going to like do that and play like semi-tight, you have to be like on them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, or you just have to kind of sit back more and sag and give them a little space. But you can't like half-ass
Right.
kind of stand next to it, because then they're just going to play quick passes and 1-2s around you.
Which they did. Absolutely, they did. 5th minute, Liverpool get the first goal of the game. Blow open the back line. I mean, it was like
Yeah.
a paper-thin sheet. They just
They're
punched
like,
right through.
Our 3 forwards come forward a little bit, and this high line is going to follow with them, and then we're just going to play one to the guy in the mid, and he's going to pop it all the way through behind.
Yep, that's exactly how it went. Salah cross to Luis Diaz, who
Salah?
just had to tap it in. Liverpool were utterly dominating United in this first half. It was disgusting.
You didn't even talk about Alexander-Arnold and David De Gea getting into it. A little shoving match.
After the goal, yeah.
After Trent Alexander-Arnold just blasted it back in the net.
Yeah.
You could already tell De Gea's just like frustrated, and he's like, "This is gonna
This
suck.
back line.
This sucks, and have
Phil
no,
Jones?
no hope."
Are you kidding me, Phil Jones?
Is that how David De Gea talks?
I'm trying to do some sort of Spanish accent.
Phil Jones.
Phil Jones? Are you kidding me? Phil Jones?
Phil Jones.
Phil Jones?
The Gijones son. Phil Jones.
Phil Jones?
Yeah,
Where were we?
I thought,
Tangent.
yeah, Diaz with a chance on a dinked ball, for a header, but goes on top of the net. Just right away. I mean, I don't know what United's possession was. I saw it at some point. It was like 20 something,
Yeah.
low 20s. But inside the first 15 minutes, it had to be like maybe 10.
Yeah, they could
Like, there's
barely
no
get
way.
a kick of the ball.
Yeah. The Mane dink to Salah for the second.
That was amazing.
Yeah, well worked.
That was peak Liverpool. That was an art form, just to have that no-look dink, to know exactly where he's going to be.
When he's running. That
That was a goal of the top class that you don't see very often.
True. United could not connect on a pass if their life depended on it. I have that as a note.
Terrible.
The highlight for United, I think, was De Gea had that like offside save on Mane. That was a wild one. He had to it was like way behind him. He reached all the way back and like one-handed. But it
Yeah.
didn't matter because it was offside.
Yeah,
But
right.
the only stat I have for you is United had 4 touches in the Liverpool box in the first half.
That seems about 4 more than I thought, to be honest.
That's what I thought too.
I thought they had 4 in Liverpool's half.
It was all in the box. They had a guy posted up down there,
Pop up.
Alonga, all the
Yeah.
way down there.
Yeah, goes into halftime 2-0, coming out the second half. Better start for United, which honestly doesn't take much when you play that bad in the first half.
What was worse, this one or the Leicester one? I would say the Leicester one because Liverpool is so good and they're just gonna
Yeah,
if they're gonna press
Yeah.
you. But that Leicester one was like,
that was so bad.
yeah.
Ugh.
Well, they get their third. Mane able to get it.
Yeah,
He's really starting to pop off.
hitting quick. Just United has no answer to that
No.
whatsoever. Liverpool starts running at the defense. It's game over. And we saw that with this third goal. Mane, yeah, like you said, really clicking, finding the form. Of course, United not coming back from 2-0, not coming back from 3-0.
How about 4? Coming back from 4-0?
Not coming back from 4-0.
Okay, well, it does go to 4-0.
Does go to 4-0. 85th minute, Mo Salah, second of the game.
Captaining Mo Salah for your fantasy Premier League team to get 38 points.
I never stopped captaining, even though he sucked for kind of a long time in the middle there. That's why I'm behind you.
Mo Salah is the suit. Yeah, I had Salah the whole year, thankfully.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I was able to change a bunch of other guys and get them low. The cheaty guys.
Yeah. Hank, the fantasy Premier League guru.
What can I say?
Whereas I don't even know what match week it is, so I don't know how to play players anymore.
Sam is lying to you, and he literally just doesn't know how to work a computer.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, it's in the lineup.
I only have I have one of those like Nokia phones from like 2006.
You got like a brick. Yeah, you got a brick phone, and then you have
not even a brick phone, just the like small ones that were just one piece, didn't flip or anything. Had a very small screen.
I would impersonate the ringtone, but I don't think I could get it right.
It's like my hand is like too big for the phone.
Yeah. It's almost like it's meant for like a G.I. Joe or like a Barbie or something. You're like, no, this is my actual phone.
It's my phone. Yeah. No, I don't just have very large hands.
Moving on, Chelsea, Arsenal, London Derby, to the lineups. Mendy, Sarr, Christensen, James, Alonso, Conte, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Dave, Lukaku, Werner, Mount for Arsenal, Ramsdale, White, Gabriel, Holding, Nuno, Saka, Odegaard, ESR, El Neni, Xhaka, and Edward Nketiah.
Yeah, I was much happier with this Arsenal lineup. Got to get El Neni in there to shore up the midfield.
You've been saying it for a week or two now.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes more sense with how they were lining up before.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't make a whole lot of sense, But yet they still have ESR and Odegaard out there. So somehow they're able to make that work. I don't know how.
Yeah. Solidify at the back. Throw in Mr. Rob Holding. And I was surprised. Chelsea coming in. Sarr, Christensen, Dan James back 3.
Rudiger out.
Yeah.
Thiago Silva, I believe, also out in this one.
No, he came off the bench.
No, you're right.
He
Rudiger was out with the injury. Yeah.
Yeah.
They thought they could get a little sneaky rotation in, a little Ruben Loftus-Cheek, a little Dave in midfield, but yet Reece James kind of hanging further back. I don't know.
Yeah, it was
strange.
It's weird. I don't know why have
Tuchel
Reece James play as more of a deeper part of the 3 at the back. That's really like
it was strange.
His best quality is his attack
going
play.
forward.
He's been one of Chelsea's best attackers.
Yeah, I mean this game they were honestly just going kind of like 2 center backs and then just like a whole mix of randomness in midfield. It was a very strange outlook by Tuchel to try that against Arsenal, not like Watford. maybe you save the trying out stuff for Watford.
Yeah.
Game starts. Alonso chance off the corner. 4 minutes in, goes just wide. Thought Chelsea was able to kind of win the ball off Arsenal early, and then as the half went on, that definitely kind of felt like it was starting to change a bit. Mm-hmm. Especially in midfield. First chance for Arsenal from Chelsea holding it. Andreas Christensen with a big boo-boo.
Oof. Very bad.
Kind of similar what happened in the match between the two sides last year at Stamford Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal also able to capitalize on this one. Goes 1-0. Mr. Edward Nketiah making Sam a believer.
Ring, ring, baby.
After he hated for so long,
I'm all in.
Accept it.
Hey, when you scored 2 goals against Chelsea, I think that turns the tides.
We'll see.
I mean, this first goal was a real gift. It was awful defense from Christensen.
He must have thought Mendy was like not only on the edge of the box, but like way further out. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like he just should have cleared it with his other foot entirely. I don't know what he was thinking.
And just to forget that for a second. Just the fact that he was in that position in the first place was kind of a head scratcher. Chelsea looked so out of sorts.
Yeah, just not rotating enough, getting back enough. And that's what I was saying with that midfield aspect. They just really had the two center backs and then kind of just a weird mix of people all around. Arsenal almost playing with fire in their own box. Oh, nope, that's too early. We had the Werner one first.
Yes.
The deflection for Timo Werner.
Crap goal.
A little luck. It was a rocket that just squeaked through and trickled in.
About 2 miles an hour.
And he looks...
I thought Ramsdale could have saved it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're just not anticipating that's going to do that, it had enough
I think
on
he got
but
caught a little bit flat-footed.
Arsenal playing with fire in their own box just to go the length of the field and score. Truly, truly good stuff from Arsenal that we've seen throughout parts of the year, especially early in the season. Well, not early in the season, but relatively early in the season. Where the attack is just clicking and the passing is going.
Yeah.
I think you can attribute that to just a nice bit of squad rotation out of Mr. Arteta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this second goal for Arsenal, just a greatly worked team play there all around. You got Smith Rowe coming to the top of the box, late run, the first time finish. The first goal was a gift. The second one was well earned.
Chelsea respond. Dave on a dime from Mason Mount.
Yeah,
You don't expect Dave popping up out of nowhere. You'd expect that to maybe be Reece James, if anyone.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of earned goals, that was a very, very nicely worked goal there. Nice, beautiful ball and super dangerous ball.
Yes.
Just begging for someone to get on the end of it.
After that, tightened up a bit, went a little more towards Arsenal. Eddie Nketiah and Smith Rowe kind of had the best chances, I would say. But yeah, it kind of went from a more open game, a little more closed, in Arsenal's favor. Second half to start, Mr. Edouard Nketiah. The Chelsea questionable inability to clear at times, rearing its ugly head.
Yeah, to say the least.
The ball is just pinging around, finds Mr. Nketiah, slots it.
Yeah, it
3-2.
wasn't the most beautiful goal, but it was good determination out of Nketiah to stick with it and finally just get that crucial touch to tap it home.
Best chance for Chelsea in the second half comes through Mr. Alonso. Massive chance. Could not score.
Yeah, I thought Chelsea, when they were pressing the matter, I thought they looked dangerous, but it just seemed like they weren't pushing hard enough and really trying to make Arsenal make mistakes, because it seemed like, there were goals to be had for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Arsenal's defense, it was okay, but you could tell there were some weak points in that defense.
Yeah, no, you could tell that Arsenal definitely felt the need, especially their attackers. They knew they had to win this game, especially with a lot on the line for a London derby. Chelsea comfortably in third, but I don't know. Not really if they drop points again. Then it's semi-close, but, out of the Champions League, I guess their focus is the FA Cup. I don't know. But it definitely seems like there's a lack of motivation and a little lack of chemistry with the squad rotation and guys being used to playing with each other.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
definitely seems like, I wouldn't say like, I don't say mercenaries unless it's like PSG, but it definitely felt like a bunch of guys that hadn't really played together that much.
Yeah, I agree.
Chance at the end, in the counterattack for both sides, Arsenal able to take theirs. Saka with a absolute dive of a penalty. VAR with the decision that goes Arsenal's way after we hear how VAR never goes Arsenal's way. We will cut to our local Arsenal fan, Sam. What is your take on VAR?
Okay, here's a conspiracy theory for you. I read this online and I thought it was pretty funny. They gave Arsenal this penalty just to shut up all the Arsenal fans, to say that they never get VAR calls in a meaningless point of the game where Arsenal was probably going to win either way.
That's wild because I think the simple explanation is that refs and VAR are just a bunch of 60 IQ.
Well, yeah, that's true completely. I mean, let's be honest, it was the wrong call.
Well, it was, first off, I don't know why Dave's even tracking him if, like, he's nowhere near the ball.
Yeah.
But then it's like Saka diving. That's honestly, I'm not going to lie, bad juju for Arsenal going forward. I'll say it right now.
I don't know. I feel like it's pretty harmless, but the fact that they like seemingly barely looked at it at VAR was kind of confusing.
Has this been the worst VAR year?
It's hard to say. I don't know.
It felt like when it first came, it was really bad, and it feels like it's gotten like slightly worse each year. Sometimes it's, I guess, maybe a little better, give or take. But this year, it feels like almost like 2/3 of the VAR decisions are just really bizarre.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just a
unpredictable.
crapshoot. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, it's pretty much a roll of the dice at that point. Which, if you're gonna have a roll of the dice, you might as well not have VAR at all.
Yeah, just make the call. 4-2 finishes. Arsenal finally off the schneid, get their win. Big London derby victory. And now they're tied with Tottenham at 64, 67. I forget the official number. But they are tied for 4th with Tottenham. Equal amount of games played.
Yeah.
I believe. Yes, they're both at 32. It's 57. They're at 57 with 6 remaining. It's going to come down to best team wins now.
I was going to say one last point. I absolutely loved Arsenal getting the penalty and scoring the penalty just for the mere fact that Graham Lasso was absolutely coping so hard for Chelsea.
What can you say?
He was, first off, he's one of the worst commentators on the Premier League broadcast. But just the fact that he was being so biased towards the end of the game, it was very unprofessional. Like, yes, it shouldn't have been a penalty, but for some reason, when he was talking about it, it just seemed like he was just whining from like a Chelsea fan.
What can you say?
Rather than like
a commentator
taking a unbiased point of view from it. But of course, that's coming from my biased point of view. So take it with a grain of salt.
I think it was a bad call. I don't think it mattered.
Yeah, exactly.
But, till the end of my days, I'll generally always defend the plucky underdog like Chelsea over Arsenal.
Can't even fill their own stadium.
Because they're not allowed to buy tickets. Yeah, massive win. Arsenal able to get off the schneid. They needed it. Chelsea, it feels like this is, as long as they keep 3rd, it feels like they're just going to kind of run in motion. I don't know what.
Yeah.
It's not even like you try out guys. You kind of already know what you have. It's just a matter of getting certain guys you want on contract extensions and stuff, right?
Yeah, I feel like...
I don't even know how you could let Rudiger go. Assuming that you're going to spend like the way Abramovich was spending with the new ownership, I don't see how you cannot pay Rudiger at this point.
Yeah, and it sounds like there could be some other departures, guys like Jorginho potentially leaving the club. So it'll be an important summer for Chelsea to see how they kind of piece together some
The only thing they got for him
new deals
is the spare bullet in the chamber that is Mr. Conor Gallagher.
True. That's true. That's kind of like a free pass, like, yes.
Yeah, true. Moving on, 2 teams that have no spare bullets because their season has gone down the toilet. Everton, Leicester, to the lineups. Take it away.
For Everton, Pickford, Mina, getting back in there, Mikolenko, Godfrey, Coleman, Alan, Delph. Yo, what up, Delph? Fabian Delph, getting back in there.
Fabian Delph.
Honestly, it's looked like Everton's best midfield player in the 4 games he's played. It will be Richarlison, Gray, Gordon. For Leicester, Schmeichel, Fofana, Evans, Pereira, Castagna, Harvey Barnes, Tielemans, Madison, Mendy, Dewsbury Hall, and Kelechi Iheanacho. So a much stronger lineup than in their previous match for Leicester. And they get off to a great start. Harvey Barnes opening up the scoring early after a very dominant spell of play to start the game. Everton barely could get a kick of the ball to start off the match. After the goal, there was a huge miss out of Richarlison in the 17th minute. Somehow shot wide after a fantastic ball from Anthony Gordon. Richarlison, I don't get it. How can he be so bad?
It's strange because Everton fans that might be like the biggest cope of the year is Everton fans for him, and they're like, he loves the club. It's like he absolutely stinks. I don't care, he loves the club. At least Gordon is like solid, and he's young, he's promising. Like Richarlison, now that Mane's like back on fire this year, I think he's taken over as king of the. Same as a fly on him.
No, it's a box elder bug.
Box elder bug.
Where are they coming from? God.
Anyways, back to the point.
Yes.
I think he's taken over as king of being like the most inefficient attacker. But now Mr. Antonio is really giving him a run for his money.
I feel like somehow Richarlison has he's being swept under the rug in terms he was signed for 50 million pounds.
Yeah.
And he can't even score freaking open goals.
He can't score like double digits on the season sometimes. So yeah, no, it's brutal if you're Everton.
He deserves a lot more flack than he gets,
to say the least.
Rest of the first half was fairly even. Everton got more into the game as the half went on, but weren't able to find any goals. Fabian Delph looked pretty good. Second half, Leicester just really lacking the quality again in the final third, kind of similar to that game against Newcastle.
It's a troubling trend for Leicester these last two games where it's like they're clearly like you can just watch it and they're fading in terms of how well they're playing during the game.
Yeah, and it's like they're getting like 80% of the way to a goal, but then the last 20% is like nowhere near.
You need there?
You need Jamie Vardy.
You need fucking Jamie Vardy. You know you don't have Jamie Vardy.
Man, I miss that guy. Everton have another great chance through Richarlison on the corner kick.
Brutal. Another brutal one.
Completely unmarked. Somehow heads wide.
I don't know what he does.
I think he's got some sort of vision impairment. He doesn't know which way the goal is.
Like if he was 50 mil when he was playing like as well as he did for Watford, what is Dennis now? 70? 80?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I don't get it. But Everton, Fat Frank wills his men to getting the equalizer. And honestly, they need all the points they can get. So getting that goal, massive. And Richarlison finally gets it, even though it was still not good.
Yeah, it was kind of funny that it was like he did almost the minimum to score that goal. It was a completely scuffed shot, and it was a very crap goal.
Yes.
By all means. But they pick up a point. Good point for Everton. Leicester, disappointing performance again. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to be played for at this point
Yeah,
for
it's just
Leicester.
kind of still figuring out what personnel you have, what you want to move forward with, what you can offload.
Yeah. Moving on to the next match.
Oh, yeah. This was not as good as I wish it was going to be. Dubravka, Schär, Target, Kraft, Byrne, Joelinton, Shelvey, Bruno, ASM, Chris Wood, Almiron, Guaita, Mitchell, Gehi, Anderson, Klein, Olise, Kouyaté, Zaha, Schlupp, Gallagher, and Edouard. This one was mainly Newcastle, especially in the first half. Best chances definitely fell for Newcastle in the first 15. They only really had like one or two okay chances. But then you get the Almiron goal. An amazing run from midfield. Slots it far upper 90. Miguel Almiron, You think he's just a pressing forward out there, kind of a little guy to run around?
Throwback to the Atlanta United days.
Just a slot. Yeah, a lot of Newcastle, just kind of, it felt a little in ways like that Wolves game where it's like Newcastle has the ball, but they're not really doing a ton with it. And Crystal Palace, honestly, this attack in the first half was just probably one of the worst games of the year from them by far. As evidenced by Patrick Vieira getting so upset. He subs Olise at the 40th minute.
Oof.
No injury.
Yikes.
Subbed off. Attack not going. And honestly, somehow making the changes of getting like Milivojevic and stuff out there helped Newcastle, or Crystal Palace rather, when it came to the second half. But still didn't look that terrific. Best chance for Newcastle came early in the second half. Header off the free kick from Joe Linton. I wouldn't say should have been scored, but it should have at least been better. Should have at least been on target. About 10, 15 minutes in, that's when Palace kind of really started ramping it up. Wilf had a few chances in the second half. He had a real big chance. Could not get it on target. Pulled a Richarlison. Then last chance, Saloon for Wilf. Just hits a laser. Goes just high. Just missed upper 90 by inches. Finishes 1-0. Good win for Newcastle. Nice formation at the end for their defense to kind of hold on. Still gave up a chance or two, but really kind of, back to that solidifying presence from their defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
We saw for that 10-game unbeaten run.
Yeah. Just looking at the two teams, you see Newcastle, overall, they just have a much more well-balanced out squad. And then you look at Crystal Palace, I think Vieira got it wrong in the starting lineup. Having Kouyaté as kind of your sole midfielder, you're kind of asking to be outpossessed in those areas.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need a little more balance, I thought, because Gallagher's going to be a little more attack. Schlupp will be kind of back and forth, but he's going to, he's not really going to hold the ball when he's in attack.
Yeah, he's not a possession-based.
Your rock being Kouyaté is fine if you have a guy who's at least more balanced, but you don't really have that balanced aspect to that midfield.
Yeah, for sure. Another good win for Newcastle. And then we move on to Manchester City versus Brighton.
This one stunk. Ederson, Stones, Ake, Laporte, Cancelo, Gundogan, Rodri, De Bruyne, Silva, Mahrez, Foden, Sanchez, Cucurella, Dunk, Veltman, Lamptey, McAllister, Mwepu, March, Caicedo, Gross, and Welbeck. So a little rotation out of Brighton, second match of the week. So
yeah, not too surprising there.
Man City able to put it on in this one, as we suspected. Bobby Sanchez was having a very rough go this game in terms of distribution. He literally passed the ball right to Riyad Mahrez, who somehow thought he had about 10 years to shoot the ball, so he didn't get a shot off and it was blocked, but not good on the giveaway near your own box from your keep. Man City was going for the counters, as we predicted last podcast. De Bruyne had a great chance on the counter, but just wide. It felt like De Bruyne was pushing every counter, too, which is a nice spot to be in if you're Man City, because you trust his decision-making and his ability to play the ball. Man City had another counterattack that resulted in Bernardo Silva having a shot that was one hand, like palmed, saved. That was over his head by Mr. Sanchez. Man City able to create the opportunities, not able to score. How many times do we say that this year? Every once in a while. Goes in 0-0. Brighton, a lot of blocks in this one. But this one, unfortunately, deflects in for Mahrez. Nice little counterattack again. fast build up, great De Bruyne run, Mahrez with the rip, and it takes I think it was Dunk that it deflected off of. And then Man City just kind of stopped playing on the counter, kind of more willing to hold the ball, possess the ball. Foden gets a second goal, deflected as well. Foden had another chance, one-on-one. Shot was saved, but he's off anyways. And then the third goal, very simple equation right here for you, Sam. The high press, buzzing around, Sanchez giveaway, leads to a goal. Equals a goal for Mr. Bernardo Silva. 3-0, Man City. I think Pep would dream this is how his team would play every game.
Yeah, you can't.
He's like, listen, the system, it's supposed to work like this every single game.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Not a whole lot to say about that, but
impressive performance by De Bruyne. Mahrez getting a goal and an assist, but it wasn't super convincing.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him play better games this year, but definitely not a bad game with those results. Brighton, it just felt like they'd kind of played a good amount too recently, clearly, and they really put a lot of effort into that first half, kind of chasing their own errors.
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing kind of breaks your way, and that's just the floodgates opening for City.
Yeah. So City keep up with Liverpool's results and
1 point ahead.
Continue as 1 point ahead into the final match of the week. Burnley versus Southampton just yesterday. Lineups: Nick Pope, Charlie Taylor, Tarkowski, Roberts, Collins, Cork, Brownhill, Dwight McNeil, Cornet, Voot, and J. Rod. So Jack Cork getting in there for the injured Ashley Westwood. For Southampton, Fraser Forster, Lianco, Bednarak, Valerie, KWP, Romeo, Ward-Prowse, Perot, Stu Armstrong, Broja, and El Yunusi. So same lineup as the match against Arsenal. Getting into the match. Speaking of Richarlison, Oriol Romeo channeled his inner Richarlison in the 7th minute as he has a wide open header on the corner kick. Go wide. Very bad. Shortly after, Burnley take the lead through Connor Roberts.
That was nice.
Beautiful curling outside the box effort for his first goal in the Burnley colors. You love to see it. Yep, absolutely. He's been awesome to watch.
It's just a matter of staying healthy at times.
Yes. 17th minute, Fraser Forster continues his good run of form, makes a big save on Jay Rodriguez to keep things from getting out of hand early. Burnley continue the pressure. They have a double chance. One goes off the post, and or one is saved and one goes off the post. J-Rod and Wout Weghorst with the chances there. Burnley really peppering it on. 32nd minute, almost the exact same thing that happened in the 7th minute for Romeo happened again.
Yeah.
And just another terrible miss.
I just can't stand him. Even when he's going well, I just am not an Oriol Romeo guy. Never have been.
Me neither.
So,
36th minute, Dwight McNeil forces Forster into a save. Nice effort out of Dwight McNeil. He's been lacking this season, to say the least.
yeah, needs to turn it on. Help the club stay up.
And just before halftime, Collins rising up on the corner to score the second goal.
Yeah, you kind of felt like if you're Southampton, it hasn't been well, but if we get in a half 1-0, who knows? Second half, we could maybe snatch one.
Yeah,
get a draw or
absolutely.
something. 2-0, pretty tough. Burnley defense looked a little better lately, even though there's some rotation in it this game, but still, they look solid. The second half, definitely not as eventful.
Yeah, no. Burnley have a goal ruled offside. It was very weird and crap.
Yes.
And then Shea Adams has a good chance on goal, but he hits it straight at Pope. And after that, Southampton were trying for a goal, but really weren't creating much.
They didn't have any real chance of note to be honest, in terms of the shots they were getting. Just, it was nothing. It was a bunch of nothingness, if you ask me.
Yeah, it looked like a performance where...
A letdown performance is what you would say. It's we just beat Arsenal, and now we have a drop-off game.
Yep, absolutely.
And for Burnley, that was a holy shit, we might go down. We actually have to start winning games kind of performance.
Mike Jackson, let's go.
It's me, Mike Jackson. That's how he talks.
Jackson. The mad lad himself, Mike Jackson.
Let's preview some games. Actually, five guys.
5 players to watch.
5 guys.
I just want to make a note. Mr. Hank messaged me this morning. He said, make sure you write down 5 or 6 guys for the podcast tonight. And I said, okay, I'll try. And then I wrote down 5 players, and I forgot to bring it home. So
the dog ate my homework. What can I say?
Going strictly off of memory.
All right, here's my 5. 5 guys that impressed me this week. Pontus Janssen, Bruno G, Kevin De Bruyne, CR7, and Mr. Teemu
Pukki. My guys, I had 2 of the same, Bruno G and CR7, not too crazy there. And then I was going to go with Eddie Nketiah, not because he played amazing, but...
Yes, getting the goals.
He scored 2 goals, and that's
I knew you were going to say him,
massive.
so I had to save that one for you. You had to...
Yeah, it's only right. And then I had Fraser Forster
Yes.
coming up with some massive saves.
He didn't expect to hear his name this late into the year.
No,
At the start of the year, that is.
tough go in the second game for him as he was kind of let down by the defense.
But still playing well.
Massive performance against Arsenal. And then I would say Sadio Mane wasn't the star of the show in that game, but I thought...
He did a lot off the ball that
Yeah.
won't necessarily pop up.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
was my thoughts exactly. And, yeah, I think that's my 5. Dewsbury Hall, I thought played pretty good.
Let's get into some predictions right about now.
Yes, let's.
Arsenal United at the Emirates.
A big match for Arsenal.
This is one of those, we talked about derbies, you never know what to expect. I mean, just general big rivalries. Doesn't have to necessarily be based off location. You never know what to fully expect. I would expect, even though they just had a big win and you might think, oh, letdown for Arsenal, United's defense is so leaky that it's hard to see them getting anything but 2 goals. I'll say it, 2 goals.
Yeah.
As far as Arsenal's defense has also been a little leaky, as long as Ronaldo's kind of in there, you never know.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to go 2-2.
Yeah, I think it could be a pretty open game. Not too dissimilar to that game against Norwich for United.
I'm leaning more towards Arsenal. I have a little more trust in their midfield. But sometimes Mr. Partey or Mr. Albert, Fat Albert, he'll get overloaded.
Yes.
And I don't like that for Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. Much prefer El Neni getting in there. Hopefully they stick with the same lineup. I don't see any reason not to, unless potentially Tomiyasu coming back, but he's been out for so long.
Probably
I
not,
doubt they would just
unless
throw him
it's a
in
sub.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I just see Ronaldo. He's been in pretty good form. I think he could
We were talking
punish
about
their back line.
how United, this is like a Van Gaal year where you look and you're like, they're way higher than you think they'd be. They're right in there with a win. But United's so bad at times that it's so hard to see it. And then when bad United shows up, you're just like, oh, I'm an idiot. Why didn't I see this coming?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll still go Arsenal. No, we'll go with the draw. We'll go 2-2, but I would pick Arsenal 2-1 if I had to pick one.
I'm going to say United 3-2.
Leicester, Villa, King Power. Got a break from Villa.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a little more refreshed.
It's weird when you have,
Leicester just played 2 games.
13 games, and when you have teams that didn't play.
Yeah. Yeah, I would want to see how Villa's attack is going. Obviously, last time we saw them, their attack was missing a bunch of good chances, and their defense was kind of exposed, but their attack I'd be more frustrated with. As far as Leicester go, seen a little bit of a drop-off. Had a couple good games. Now you're fading as the games go on. I would go Villa 2-1 here. I don't feel great about it because it's at Leicester.
I'm expecting an energized performance out of Villa, and I think conversely, possibly a lack of energy out of Leicester. They've had 2 tough games, and I think Villa will be a lot fresher and hopefully get some good offense going. So I'm going to say 3-1 Aston Villa.
Manchester City versus Watford. At the Etihad. Watford, get ready for pain.
Brace yourselves, lads.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not going to be able to play on the counter. Man City, that is, like they did against Brighton. But you would have to feel like the way Watford are disorganized at times, that Man City will be able to manufacture a goal. Yet, you just never know with Man City.
Yeah, there's always that wild card factor.
I'm going to go with and Man City normally crushes Watford too. But yet I don't feel great about picking a just absolute like 5 or 6-0. I'm just going to go 2-0.
I want to say 4-0 City.
See, I want to, but I feel like there's a little bit of a drop-off for City coming up at some point. Norwich, Newcastle, Carrow Road. Norwich's last stand, Sam called it.
It sure is.
Newcastle's just hot right now. What are you going to do? How are you stopping that?
Yeah, I think Newcastle could potentially be dangerous on the counter, but it really depends on how Newcastle comes out. They've been in really good form as of late.
I trust their defense, which is not always great to say because then Norwich can just prove you wrong out of nowhere. But I trust their defense enough, and their midfield's much better than Norwich's. I'm going to go with a 1-0 Newcastle victory.
I'll say 2-0 Newcastle.
Brentford, Tottenham, at Brentford. Tottenham very lucky to not have to play Brentford early in the year at Brentford Community Stadium. But you missed them on their crap gap where they stunk it up. Now you have to play Brentford and they're good again.
Yeah.
I will say Brentford maybe a little susceptible to the counter if they're not able to rotate fast enough, but I like their defense right now. Feels good. Got Christian Eriksen going against his old club.
Are we predicting Brentford to win this match?
I will go with a hectic 3-3 draw.
I'm going to say 2-1 out of Tottenham.
To the Sunday games. Brighton and Southampton.
2 teams who really have nothing to play for.
Says you.
So I expect this game to be not very good. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it going to be Southampton that's not playing very well again, or is Brighton back to not playing well, or they both just have one-off games? I kind of like, even though Southampton sometimes starts fast, I kind of like Brighton's ability to match with Southampton, especially in midfield if they're going to be able to possess.
Mm-hmm.
I think the key for Southampton is if Salisu's playing, they do look a whole lot better when he's back there compared to just, whether it's Bednarak or they go with that back 3 and it's like Valerie or Liancow.
Yeah, it seems like maybe he's fallen out of favor with the manager. Hasn't played the last 2 games.
Yeah, well.
Maybe 3? 2, 3?
No, he played the Chelsea game. So I think that's probably maybe where the break comes from.
Yes.
Everyone deserved a break after that game. I'm going to go Brighton 2-1.
I'm going to say 1-1.
Burnley, Wolves, Turf Moor. Haven't seen Wolves either for a bit.
Yeah. I think it'll be kind of a similar situation.
Whereas Burnley's played 2 lately.
Yeah. I think it'll be very similar. I think Wolves will come out good energy. Burnley, we've seen where they pick up a couple good results and then they kind of fall off due to fatigue because they have a pretty thin squad.
And a bunch of makeup games in a row.
Yep.
I'm going to go with a draw right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go Burnley 1-1 with Wolves.
I'm going to say a 1-0 for Wolves.
Chelsea, West Ham at the Bridge. Another London derby for Chelsea.
Yeah, this
First one
match
against
was
West
awesome.
Ham was very strange.
Great match.
Very strange game. It was a good match. West Ham with the game-winning Shoss.
Yes.
The Shoss of the Year candidate. I don't know. West Ham not looking all that sharp, but like I said, London derbies, you just never know. It's going to show up. Chelsea, their motivation seems to be lacking.
Yeah.
Some
To say
questions
the
about
least.
injury, but it's strange. I'm going to go with the draw. I'm going to go with the 2-2 draw.
I'm going to say Chelsea win this one 2-1.
Really, I'm leaning a little more towards West Ham.
I feel like West Ham, I don't know.
They might just
Maybe
be
both
toasted.
sides are kind of,
They're gassed.
yeah,
They might just roll the ball out there and just say, whatever, we'll take whatever.
yeah, I think they're two sides that are both just looking towards the end of the season.
Liverpool, Everton.
Oh, Merseyside. Oof.
Pain!
Ooh, Everton.
Pain!
Could this be the
Could
final
this-
blow?
Could this really be where Fat Frank absolutely solves football once again
Oh, that would be brilliant.
and knocks off Liverpool to not for sure stay up, but almost
yeah,
make it a whole lot safer? Let's put it like that.
absolutely.
Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. I'm going to go Liverpool 4-0.
Yeah, I'm going to say Liverpool 4-0 too.
Palace, Leeds.
At
I
the
like this
Selhurst.
game.
Should be good. Hopefully a lot of energy out of these boys.
Energy on these buns.
I want to see a better performance out of Crystal Palace in that last match against Newcastle.
Yeah, it feels like when Palace, like, they'll be in good run of form, and then they'll, like, lose a game where they play well, and that kind of happened in that Leicester game, and it's almost like, I feel like they have some sense of, like, they get demoralized or something, and it's just not
Yeah.
going, and they either overthink it in terms of tactics, or the guys just kind of fall a little out of form, but no, they definitely need a nice rebound game. Leeds, again, haven't played for a bit, going to be well rested. At Selhurst, I will go with a draw of the 1-1 variety, but I'm kind of leaning towards your guy, Mr. Marsh.
I'm going to say 3-3.
I could see
3-3
it.
thriller.
I could see it.
And into the final match. United versus Chelsea at Old Trafford. What do you think about this one?
Well, as I said earlier, I don't know what to think of Manchester United. It just depends on if you get okay United or bad United. There's no good United anymore.
I think a big impactor on this game is going to be the result against Arsenal on the weekend.
Yeah.
Get beat by Arsenal, I would say there's a very low chance of winning this game against Chelsea.
I think this feels like I feel more confident in Chelsea winning this game than the West Ham game. I have no reason as to why. Other than Ranić is the puppet master. So he obviously knows all.
Yes.
No, I think Tuchel will kind of fix the lineups a little more this go around. Strange one from him in that Arsenal one, and then maybe these two this week he'll get right.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Prediction? You got one prediction for us?
Did we even predict the United versus Chelsea scoreline?
We're gonna go.
Say 2-1 Chelsea.
Yeah, I'll do the same 2-1.
My one random prediction is going to be a
Edward
Hwang
Brace.
Hee-chan
Oh
goal against Burnley.
no, it's a
It's Michael
Edward
Jackson.
Brace against Michael Jackson. Well, folks, that will be all for this episode of the Premiership Perusal Podcast. Tune in next week, probably next Friday. Once again, normally we do Thursdays. Probably next Friday. We're gonna be coming at you, hitting it hard. The analysis, the predictions, the memes,
The vibes.
the dreams, it's all coming
All here.
at you right here. Until next time, goodbye.